In this video, we're going to be talking about how the Flamethrower might just be the new meta weapon for the Terminid missions. So if you didn't notice, in the last patch, they actually nerfed the railgun, which was the, S tier meta weapon for everything. And they buffed the Flamethrower. They also buffed the laser rifle. And a few other tweaks here and there with weapons, and the shotgun, the breaker got changed, and other things. And I was testing it out since then to see, is the Flamethrower any good? Now, one of the first things is that I barely even tried it on the Automatons, because I know without extensive testing that it's just not going to work on the Automatons. Because one of the things with the Flamethrower is you need to just stand out in the open, just staring at them, unloading the Flamethrower, basically. And considering that the Automatons have rocket launchers and guns to shoot at you while you do that, it's just not going to work, unfortunately, for Automatons. Which is actually kind of interesting, because this patch might just be creating a scenario where you actually want to use different loadouts for the different missions. Whereas before, because the railgun was so OP, it was Automaton's railgun, Terminid's railgun, or, shield pack railgun, whatever, meta you decided was a thing. You just use it for both, right? Well, not now. Now the Flamethrower is actually pretty darn good. But again, only for Terminids, because they don't shoot rockets at you. So I tested this a bunch of different ways, always on Helldive. I've tested it solo, I've tested it with friends and things. So first off, when I played with some friends, every single game I had significantly more kills than everybody else with the build that we're going to be talking about a little bit in this video. And that's with people who had more meta builds, and they had the guard dog sentries and different things that just farm out kills for them and stuff. The Flamethrower is just insane for getting kills. And also, it's insane for killing some of the big enemies. Not Bile Titans, unfortunately, or maybe there is a way that I haven't figured out yet, but for the Chargers, Brood Commanders, different things, there's actually some ways to kill them extremely fast with the Flamethrower. And also, the flame damage on the ground just creates a good barrier for all the weak ones to walk through, which makes them take a lot of damage by the time they even get to you. And it turns out the biggest counter to the Flamethrower actually is not what you would think. Those little tiny bugs, the red ones, I haven't really done it too much on the green ones, they're probably same for them, but the little red bugs are actually the biggest problem you're going to face with the Flamethrower when trying to clear Terminids, because they're so hard to hit directly because the turn radius is so slow on the Flamethrower that they tend to get right through the fire, and they run up to you while on fire and start stabbing at you, and you have to, to change weapons and try to finish them off with your shotgun or your rifle or submachine gun, whatever, and then back up and then go back to the Flamethrower and keep going if you can't swivel fast enough to clear them all off on their way in. But for everything else, Flamethrower is actually just crazy. This thing is lit. Like, you can just go ahead and kill whole waves of enemies. Now, the one thing that you really got to watch out with Flamethrower is it's important to group them up, obviously. So for Terminid missions, what you want to do is you want to get like a rock wall or something, or just even one of those big like rock structures, like these rock pillars that are maybe like 50 meters wide by 50 meters wide, like big circular ones, or just any type of terrain that'll funnel them into you. You don't need to be funneled on left and right. You just need to go around something so they're all walking around the edge in like kind of a straight path. And then you just turn around and unload the Flamethrower on them and just kind of swivel it left and right and try to direct fire the different targets that are bigger in order to get them down. And one thing that's important to know is the damage over time from the fire is not that great. It's the direct damage from the Flamethrower. So when you're actually spraying something directly, that's what's going to do the insane amount of damage now after the buff. Which, in case you didn't know, is a 50% damage increase buff. So it actually does a ton of damage now with direct fire, and it can hit like multiple targets, basically. The only thing you really got to worry about is either getting surrounded. So you got to like pay attention and make sure you don't get surrounded, because you can't turn fast with the Flamethrower, so you're not going to be able to turn. So if you get surrounded, you got to change to your primary weapon and run and fight your way out of the snare until you can get them all on one side of you and get back to spraying them. And then the Chargers, they get countered hard by the Flamethrower, but you got to know the trick to it. And also, you got to try to navigate the fight where there's enemies coming at you and the Charger, which is way easier than you would think it is. So the Charger has the same weakness as it always has. It's just that you go for the joint on the front legs. With the railgun, you just knock the armor off the front leg, which you still can do with unsafe mode and railgun, but it's just 4 shots down instead of 2, so that's why I'm not using it as much anymore. But with the Flamethrower, you actually want to go for where the leg connects to the body. There's like the smaller part of the leg that connects to that big husky thing on the front. And if you aim for that little section, or just hit the front leg at all, depending on your angle, it doesn't matter too much. Just aim for the leg in general, but ideally that little joint. And if you do that, that sometimes I've had the charger die within like 2 to 3 seconds of hitting with the flamethrower. So it's crazy. I mean, it's a hard charger counter, which if you know Helldive difficulty Terminid missions, your ability to clear the charger and the bile titan, that's pretty much the mission. Once you get to that level and you're used to it, if you can clear the charger quickly and effectively, or chargers I should say, clearly and effectively, then the Terminid missions are suddenly very easy. Everything else is totally doable once you just get used to it and know how to fight them, especially if you have the breaker shotgun or something like that, or just know how to, you know, use weapons decently well, just the basic weapons, and other things like cluster bombs and stuff. Now, one problem that you're going to run into for a lot of people is you can burn yourself, and that's where a lot of people are probably going to say, oh no, the flamethrower is bad, because they're catching themselves on fire. And the trick to that is how you build. So what I like to do personally is I like to run the supply pack. Now, the catch to this is you got to be more skillful at the game. You've got to be able to not get swarmed as well. You got to know how to fight the terminids without getting, you know, messed up, basically. But if you are good at having control of the battle, basically, then the supply pack will let you effectively have unlimited stims. It's also great to have unlimited canisters because you will burn through them rather fast while doing this. So without the supply pack, the flamethrower suddenly is not so great because resupplies, you know, it's hard to get those when you're fighting terminids. Although if you're playing with 4 people, everything can be so easy. You'll have wiggle room to go get the resupply, but you'll be taking it for everyone else then. So someone better have a supply pack at that point. But I personally just run the supply pack, and just when I need stims, I just keep eating supply packs and popping stims. Now, the more you use it, the better you'll get, and the less you'll catch yourself on fire. But at first, you'll catch yourself on fire constantly, and you'll just want to pop a stim immediately because that burn damage kills you insanely fast. So just pop a stim immediately. It'll counter it. Every time you catch yourself on fire, you'll hear your person will start screaming and stuff. Just immediately pop a stim if you can, and just eat supply packs in order to keep up with that demand. I can't remember how many it was in one of these matches I played with some friends, and I had, I don't know, 10 or 20 stim uses or something crazy because caught myself on fire every now and then, although that was like my 3rd game with it. Again, I think the more you play with it, the less you'll catch yourself on fire because you'll get used to it. But you will create scenarios sometimes where you'll force yourself into the enemy, basically, where you already put flames and you have to catch on fire. It can be kind of weird. Now, I tried the energy pack, or not the energy, but the shield pack. And the shield pack does not protect you from the fire damage on the ground. I tested that, did not work. I was hoping it would. Does not. So the way I see it is the only real way to use the flamethrower is to run supply pack. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, you can get by without it, but it's going to be a lot less fun, let's just say. But if, you know, you get good enough to never catch yourself on fire somehow, then, you know, make it work. It'll be fine. Although canisters will be kind of a problem after a little bit. You kind of burn through them. You don't burn through them super fast, but you do burn through them pretty fast. So supply pack, flamethrower, I think that's kind of the meta right now for terminids for me. There's other options. There's grenade launcher and the laser potentially, which I'll have to play with some more. But the laser bounces off armor, so I remember someone was telling me about some cheesy way to kill a charger with a laser, so I'll be looking into that and stuff. But the flamethrower is fun. It's fun. It's good, actually, for terminids. The only thing is bile titan, which I haven't had a lot of time to play with it because the patch just came out like a day or 2 ago. But the flamethrower does not actually kill a bile titan. It does not penetrate armor, so you can blow up its abdomen, which is actually insanely good for blowing up the abdomen. You can just run straight forward when he's going for the stomp attack. He'll do an acid attack, and then after that, next thing he does is he wants a stomp attack, and you run right under him, look up, and you can spray at his abdomen and blow up both abdomens like instantly, and then run away, and then go for, you know, something else to kill them, because you can't finish him with a flamethrower. But then at that point, you could use an orbital railgun strike, so using half his HP, he dies to that. That's what I like to do. Or if you have some other, you know, orbital call-in that you like, or an eagle bomb or something that you'd like to kill him with, you could do that. Or if you're playing with people, then you could have someone else finish him with some other stratagem. But it is really good for knocking the abdomen, but you physically can't kill a bile titan with it, because it doesn't penetrate any armor. But either way, that's it, guys. I wanted to let you guys know about how it works and the ins and outs of how to use it for this scenario. But the flamethrower is, in my mind, for my gameplay, if I want to just win, it's meta. It is super meta. Flamethrower, supply pack, and the other 2 things, you can pick whatever, you know, you're comfortable with. I like cluster bomb personally, and then the rail cannon for killing bile titans. But you know, you can do it whichever way you want for those other 2. But yeah, as long as you group these enemies up and you just flamethrower the masses and you shoot the legs off the chargers, you're gonna have a pretty easy time with the flamethrower. It's actually really insanely strong now and really fun to use. And that's it for this one, guys. Just wanted to keep you guys in the loop, keep you up to date with what to try, what to have fun with. I mean, the game's just about having fun, so try it out. Again, I think it's meta. Regardless of whether or not it's meta, it's really good and it's very fun. I highly recommend trying it once you get used to it. I wish I had been using it the whole time. It's so much more fun than using the railgun. Even though the railgun was really fun before, it's even more fun than that. It's really fun to use a flamethrower. So check it out, give it a shot, see how you feel about it. Let me know what you think, and hopefully it helps you out, guys. Flamethrower, possibly new meta for the Terminid missions in Helldivers 2.